Hey y'all, gratitude. Hey Cosmic. Hey, I'm just getting my tea made. I forgot to make it before I came on live. Can you hear me clearly? I had to take a mental break for a couple of days. Okay, I'm back. Hold on a sec. I gotta step outside real quick. He said my live dropped. Oh, that's before I had refreshed it and came back. Get down. Here. So this is just perfect. Here. No, come on. Here, I'll put you some in the bowl. Yes, we're gonna make a mess. Here. Here. So I got a few videos. How y'all doing anyway? Before we get started, how y'all doing? Feel like I'm a little all over the place. It's taking me 5 minutes to get situated. Thought I was ready. Thought I was ready. All right. Doing all right, Cosmic? Okay. I'm good. I was so sleepy though. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, I'm not gonna get on live tonight. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna just do it anyway because consistency is key. So sleepy or not, I'm gonna get on live. Okay, because that's my goal. That is my goal. So just for a quick update, okay. Nazaya's, well, Jarvis's trial is March 7th. Okay. So they pushed the trial out because I know it was supposed to be yesterday, I believe. And good thing they did push it out so they can continue to gather some more information in regards to this case and getting justice for Nazaya and making sure that they are obtaining as much information about Shannon, the family, and everybody else. At this point, I feel like we need phone records and everything else. Okay. So hopefully that's what they're doing. I kind of figured you did fall asleep or something because you stopped responding, but it's all good. It's all good because I was so sleepy myself. So hopefully we don't be on here too much longer than last time. I do want to pick up where I left off in the last video for those people who are going to catch this replay. It can kind of flow into where we left off. And I believe the last video, the last live regarding Nazia's case, we left off at Jarvis' sister and her testimony. So I want to go into his business partner, King's testimony, also known as Cordell. And he was one of the last people to last see Nazia. So we want to make sure that we watch that. And plus, I wanted to rewatch it because I feel like I missed some stuff. I feel like I missed a lot. Hold on. Come on. Where's your cup? No, it's not. I know. Here, you want some of this? No. It's juice. No, why? I don't see your cup. Cup? Let me see if it's in the refrigerator. So let me go ahead and play that for y'all. I'm gonna get it. Hold on. Watch yourself. Can you spell his first name?
Cordell.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, Mr. Wright.
Good morning.
And Mr. Wright, do you have a nickname?
Yes.
And what's your nickname?
King.
Is that K-I-N-G?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. How old are you?
37.
When's your birthday?
11/17.
What year?
86.
And Mr. Wright, back in January 2024, were you on a MDOC tether?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And what dates were you on tether from?
From March 14th, 23 to March 28th of 24.
And what were your tether restrictions back then?
I could leave the house from 6 in the morning. I had to be back in by 9 p.m.
Mr. Wright, do you know someone named Jarvis Butts?
Yes, I do.
How do you know Jarvis Butts?
I first met him. We worked together at a shop called Frank's, and then we owned the shop together.
And do you see Jarvis Butts in the courtroom today?
No.
Would you be able to stand up so you can look around?
Yes.
You can sell this $5 spatula on Amazon and compete with hundreds of other spatula sellers, or you can sell digital products on Amazon and compete with almost no one. You see, I use a brand new Amazon platform that's banned the sale of physical products. Yet without me buying or shipping in.
No.
When did you meet Mr. Butts?
2018.
And you said you two worked together initially at a place called Frank's?
Frank's.
All right. Where was Frank's at?
He has a couple locations. He has 7, but the one I met him at was on Warren in Neff.
Warren and Neff. Okay. And what locations of Frank's did you work at with Mr. Butts?
Warren and Neff.
Member Van Approach?
Yes.
And Mr. Wright, I'm approaching those proposed exhibits 4, 5, and 6. Can you look at these and tell me if you recognize those?
I recognize this one, and this one.
And those are those a fair and accurate depiction of Frank's Auto Shops? At least 2 of them on Warren and the other one maybe on Harper?
Yes,
Okay, which is the one that's on Harper?
the last one on the inside.
Okay, and that's People's Exhibit, proposed exhibit 6?
Yes,
Okay, you're not with the admission of People's 4, 5, and 6?
Any objection? No objection. They'll be admitted as equals exhibits 4, 5, and 6.
Thank you, Judge. How long did you work at Frank's with Mr. Buck?
a few years.
About how many years would you estimate?
2.
And when did that change from Frank's to another shop?
Maybe in 23 sometime.
Would it be earlier in the year or later in the year?
Maybe mid, maybe in May. Well, maybe April, May.
And then where did you guys work then?
We got a shop together on 9,000 Connor.
And what is at 9,000 Connor?
A sicko, a car wash, and our shop was in the middle of both.
Mayor, may I approach?
Yes.
Mr. Gregg, I'm handing you with markers people proposed exhibits 7 and 8. Can you look at those and tell me if you recognize them?
Yes, I recognize.
And are those a fair and accurate depiction of your shop at 9,000 Connor?
Yes, it is.
And you're not with the admission that people's proposed exhibits 7 and 8.
Any objection? No objection. They'll be admitted as equals exhibits 7 and 8.
Thank you. Who did you, and who was it that you mainly worked with at 9,000 Connor?
I'm sorry,
Who was it that you worked with at 9,000 Connor?
Jarvis.
I want to take you back to when you were working at Frank's with Mr. Butts. Did you ever see Mr. Butts with any children there?
Yes,
And specifically, did you see with any young girl children?
yes,
And did you know who those were?
yes.
Who were they? Who were they?
His daughter, his niece,
Daughters and niece. What about any boys?
yes.
And who were they?
His sons.
How often would you see him with children there at Frank's?
Sporadically.
And at 9,000 Connor, did you see Mr. Butts with any children then?
Yes,
Any girls?
yes.
And who would they be?
His daughter,
And what about any boys?
yes.
Who would they be?
His sons.
And how often would you see him with children at 9,000 Connor?
Sporadic.
And as it relates to this case, it's fair to say that you spoke with Detroit police a few times,
Yes, about 4.
about 4 times. Okay. That first time that you talked to Detroit police, do you recall about when that was?
The first time was the day before Valentine's Day, so like February 13th.
February 13th, and is that of 2024?
Yes,
All right. And at that time, were you presented with a jail call?
yes.
And who was that jail call with?
Jarvis,
Okay. And who was he talking to?
me.
And what was the topic of that jail call?
He called and asked would I receive a cell phone out of a truck for him.
And were you familiar with what truck he was asking you to get it from?
Yes.
What truck was that?
It was a Z71 Chevy Suburban.
And did you know who that truck belonged to?
Yeah, his baby mom or somebody was dealing with.
And do you recall listening to that jail call?
Yeah, I recall.
If I, I would move to admit the jail call from, I believe it's February 8th, 2024, between Mr. Wright and Mr. Bucks.
Any objection?
No objection.
What is it? Exhibit number?
Sorry, that's exhibit number 1.
Would you have any people to this one?
Thank you, Judge. And may I publish?
Yes, I mean, both.
Thank you, Judge. And for the record, I am playing People's Exhibit 1.
That's it.
This is a one-time free 3-minute call from an inmate at Woody County Jail. Your phone is not set to collect calls. This call has been provided by Helmet as a courtesy for friends and family. You cannot receive additional calls from this inmate until you call prepaid call. We can take your credit or debit card information over the phone and connect you immediately back to your phone. This call is subject to recording and monitoring. Press 1 to accept all communications from this. Thank you for using Sony.
My guy, what's up, man?
Not shit, man. What's happening?
Not shit, man. How you feel? My bad, I missed your call. I was working like a motherfucker.
I figured they said you was up there banging, said something banging.
You know it.
What's up, my nigga? What's up, boy?
You know it.
And shit. Man, I'm calling, man, because they put my money on my fucking books, bro.
Oh, yeah, take a minute for them to put that shit on there. Even if you walk in with it, man, they be playing it crazy.
Yeah,
I swear to God. Hey, you got a machine and shit. You show you straight? You need something? I mean, I'm not getting something out of it.
I have money on my books, nigga. I can't deal with money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they put this shit on my hookup. I was up on the cabinet. I get them up $0. That's some bullshit.
That shit crazy.
Yeah.
How is it, though?
Man, that's some bullshit. I'm really going to quarantine on this whole shit, bro.
Oh, yeah, they got you on that quarantine club for how long? 3 days?
I don't know how long, nigga. Shit, I'm saying, oh, I'm about to be the only one in this bitch on my part.
You say, what happened?
I said, shit, I'm about to be the only one in this bitch.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
What you need?
Huh?
No, I was asking what that customer needs. Man, listen. You straight?
Yeah, that's my name.
Huh?
So yeah, I'm good. Oh shit, yeah. You got a passion number, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna need you to call her one thing, nigga. Get that truck up there, nigga. Get my phone out that back seat, bro.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I'm going to get the truck up there. What will tell it?
Tell you gonna talk around the lost car that you're doing. He's moving the radio.
Okay.
Now,
All right.
I said this.
You have 1 minute remaining for this call.
Reach behind that back seat.
Where? Yeah.
So you reach behind that back seat, bro. The box right there. Straight behind the middle of that back seat, bro.
Okay, under it or in the back or in the back
Right in
thing?
the back, like right in the back of the seat, bro.
Okay.
I'm not thinking.
Sound like they in cahoots to me. What y'all think?
You know you took the key. You took the key to the gate.
It's the same key.
I don't got that key to it.
Yeah, you do. It's the same key to the lock and the door.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah, it's the same key, bro.
Now, you know I got to I'll put the money on the phone later, man. When I get around, baby, I can put the credit card.
I got the key on that. I told my wife and how to bring up the key.
No, I don't need it though. You said the same one I got it, so I don't get it right now anyway. Just when I get the strap out of there.
Okay.
Hold on. Before you pay for yet another app to manage your team, let me introduce you to Connect Team, the one platform that replaces
And Mr. Wright, were you successful in getting that cell phone from the vehicle like Mr. Bud asked you to?
She came up there, but no, I wasn't successful. It wasn't there.
Wasn't there? Okay.
When we say she, who you, I'm putting the first.
Tasha,
Who's talking that you know of?
his baby mom.
Okay. Did you look for it in the vehicle?
Yeah, I looked for her.
And you were unsuccessful in finding it.
Yes.
Wait, he said Tasha, his baby mama. I thought the fiance was the one that dropped him off when he went to turn himself in and he left his phone in her truck. I'm gonna have to go back and get the name.
And Mr. Wright, I want to talk to you now about the second time that you were speaking with the Detroit police. That was just a couple days after your first son.
It was not long, a few weeks maybe. I was off tether at that point, I believe.
And do you recall talking about fixing a red Jaguar and going to Ypsilanti?
Yes, I do.
Tell me about How many times did you and Mr. Butts go to Ypsilanti?
I believe it was either 2 or 3.
All right. And how did that come about? Who's the Red Jaguar is this?
My son's grandma.
Your son's grandma.
So she called, said she was having some problems with it, and asked if we would come look at it, which is not unusual. We do house calls depending on the person and where it's at located. But this is my son's grandma, so of course we don't make the exception. She called and said she was having problems with the car. Asked if we would come look at it. We went, assessed the car at her house the first time. I think we made a minor repair there, not to the extent that it was the problem that she was having after the fact.
Okay. So where is this Red Jaguar located when you guys go out to see it?
It's at my son's grandma's driveway in Ypsilanti, off Michigan Avenue, I believe.
All right. And who goes with you out there that first time?
Jarvis.
Okay. It's just you and Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys go out there and you assess, make a minor repair.
Yeah.
Does it completely fix the car?
For that problem, yes.
Okay. And then is there another time that you end up having to do work on this Red Jaguar?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about that.
She drove the Jaguar for a while. It was doing fine. Then she said it was leaking something. I asked her what it was leaking. She said she didn't know. I asked her if she could get it towed to the shop. She said, yeah.
Okay. So at some point, this Red Jaguar gets towed to your shop at 9000 Honor?
Yes.
Okay. And who works on it at 9000 Honor?
Me and Jarvis.
Okay. And what do you do when you finish fixing? Do you ever finish fixing the Red Jaguar?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you do when you finish fixing it?
We take it back to her. I called her first and asked her how she was planning on retrieving the vehicle. She said she was going to tow it, and I didn't want to cost her no more money, so I told her that we could bring it.
Okay. And do you recall that was on or about January 9th of 2024?
It was on.
It was on that day?
Yes.
Okay. So on that day, before you take the Red Jaguar back, who was, tell me about how that day started for you.
I woke up. I typically leave the house at 6 because that's what time I could leave. So I went to the gym. I got to the shop probably around 8:30. I don't know who opened the shop. I can't really recall which one of us opened it, but Jarvis may have been there already. A few cars came in. Then the Jaguar probably got there maybe around 9 o'clock. I assessed the Jaguar. Jarvis left for a moment. I had another mechanic. Being it's a foreign car, so I had a foreign car mechanic on call to help with the work, but he was busy, so he came. Said he wouldn't have time to do it, so I think I Googled it, seen how it was done, and I proceeded taking the water pump off.
Okay. So you're working on the Jaguar, and is Mr. Butt that work that day?
Yes, he was there.
Okay. What do you guys, you and Mr. Butts, do as it relates to work on the night?
I think we had a few cars that came in that needed some minor repairs. Between that and the Jaguar, we were jumping in and out of the Jaguar job, and the cars that could pull it up, maybe oil change, tune up, whatever, et cetera, so forth was. But we was mainly working on the Jaguar, trying to get the water pump off, as it is a hard job to do.
And do you always have all of your parts on stock or on your person in stock with you?
No, we call either AutoZone, Mansfield, one of the auto stores that has them.
Okay. And did you have to go get any auto parts on January 9th?
Yes, we had to go get the water pump for the Jaguar, as well as some other parts, I believe, for other cars.
Okay. And when you go and get parts, is it usually just one of you, both of you, or something else?
That depends. If it's a car there, then one of us will stay. If it's not a car there, we go together sometimes.
Okay. And on January 9th of 2024, did one of you guys go to the auto parts store, or did you both go?
We both went.
Both went? Okay. Tell me what happens when you go to the auto parts store.
Before that, I called them. They ordered the water pump, so we went and picked it up when they called and said it was in. We got in the truck, went to AutoZone, got the water pump. On our way back from AutoZone, I believe we forgot something, so we ended up turning back around, going back to AutoZone, grabbed whatever we forgot, came back, and on our way back, we was coming down Harbor. Jarvis said, "I see my niece right there. She walking." We pulled into Angel's liquor store. I still didn't see her. He pointed across my face, said she right there. She was coming across the street at that time. She got in the truck with us. She spoke, hi King, hi Jay, and we proceeded back to the shop.
Okay. So when you guys are driving to these auto parts stores, who's driving?
Jarvis,
Okay. And where are you at?
passenger seat.
Okay. And you said when you guys are heading back to the shop the second time, that's when you said Jarvis spots someone?
Yes.
Who does he say that he spots?
His niece.
His niece. Okay. And do you recognize his niece?
Yes, when I see her, when he pointed her out to me, yes, I recognize her walking across the street.
Okay. And so you guys pull over. Where does she get into the car at?
I believe she getting behind me, so the back seat behind me.
Okay. Does Jarvis say anything to her?
Yeah, she speaks to both of us and we speak back.
Okay. What does he say to her?
Hi.
Hi. And where do you guys go after you pick up his niece?
Back to the shop.
Okay, and that's at 9,000 Connor?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you guys do when you get back to 9,000 Connor?
He back in. We get out. We proceed to working on the Jaguar. I may have got out the car first with the parts, and he was in the car with her for a second. I got out, started working on the Jaguar.
And does
Turn your selfies into headshots in 3 quick steps. Start by uploading a few of
what happens next? What do you guys do?
I believe she get out, get into the front seat, reposition herself to the front seat of his truck. It was colder that day. I believe she started the truck. We started working on the Jaguar, putting the parts back on. It took a little minute. Like I said, it was a difficult job, so it took a while. At some point, I believe his truck ran out of gas, so we had to stop what we were doing to push his truck to the gas pump so he could get some gas.
So you said that she gets out of the car that you guys were in?
Yes.
Okay, and then she gets into Jarvis' truck.
No. We was always in Jarvis' truck.
Okay.
So she gets out of the back seat and repositions herself to the front seat so she can start the cover.
And tell me what kind of truck Jarvis drive?
Escalade.
And what color?
It's pearl white.
Okay.
It looked like the judge is drilling. It looked like she is burning a hole on the side of his face. You saw him cut his eye out real quick. She just sick of all they ass.
What if you can see, what is his niece doing while you guys are working on shop?
I believe she's on her cell phone, I believe.
Does Jarvis ever take his niece anywhere while you guys are working at the shop?
No.
No. Okay. Did you ask him if he was going to take her home at all?
I believe I asked him was he gonna drop her off when the truck ran out of gas. We had to push it to the pump. It was just a distraction from work, so I asked was he gonna drop her off. He said no.
And do you finish working on the Jaguar that day?
Yes.
Okay. And what happens after you finish up on the Jaguar?
I called my son grandma and asked her how she was gonna retrieve the vehicle. She said she was gonna tow it back. I told her she didn't have to do that. I was just spending extra money. So I asked Jarvis, was it all right if we dropped it off? He said yes. And we started making preparations to do so.
Do you recall about what time you guys finished the Jaguar and prepared to leave?
Right around 7:30 or somewhere around there.
When do you guys eventually leave the shop?
Yes.
Okay. And tell me about who all leaves the shop?
Me, Jarvis, and his niece.
Okay. And tell me about the driving arrangements.
So I drove my 300 and Jarvis drove the Jaguar.
Okay. And where was his niece at?
She was with him in the front seat of the Jaguar.
Now, are you able to recall what his niece looked like that day?
Yes. Faintly, but yes.
Do you remember what kind of clothing she was wearing?
I remember she had a jacket on. Like I said, a coat. It was cold, so I think it was colorful.
Colorful?
Yeah.
Okay. You heard me, Edgar?
Yes.
And Mr. Wright, I'm approaching with people's proposed exhibit 2. And I'm going to direct you to the top left corner. Can you tell me, is there anything that you recognize in that?
The jacket in channel 1.
Okay. And is that a fair and accurate depiction of the jacket that you've seen his niece, Jarvis' niece, wearing that day?
Yes.
Okay. And I look at the admission people's proposed exhibit 2.
Any objection? Okay. Should we admit as people's exhibit 2?
Thank you. And You're a man, okay. And then showing you its market appeals proposed exhibit 3. Do you recognize what I just handed you?
Yes.
And is that a fair and accurate depiction of Jarvis's niece as you remember seeing her back on January 9th, 2024?
Yes.
Okay, and is that the same niece that went with you to Ypsilanti?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And I move for the admission of people's proposed exhibit 3.
No objection. Okay, to be admitted as people in exhibit 3.
Thank you. So, you guys are driving to Ypsilanti. You said you're driving in your 300, and Jarvis is driving the Jaguar with his niece.
Yes.
Okay. About how long does it take you guys to get to Ypsilanti?
It was raining that day, so about 35 minutes.
And when you get to Ypsilanti, what do you do?
We get out, we park the car, get out, we go in. My son's grandma and I believe his auntie was there as well, so they greeted us. They spoken to him before, so they greet him. And then my son's grandma asked who the little girl was.
Did you introduce the little girl?
No.
Okay. Who introduced the little girl?
Jarvis did.
And what did Jarvis introduce her as?
His niece.
And about how long do you guys stay in Ypsilanti?
Not long, maybe 15 minutes or so. My son auntie had to go get the rest of our money that my son and grandma didn't have, so she went to the ATM.
What do you guys do when you went to the ATM?
Talking. She was just telling us about the work she needed to do around her house, et cetera, so on and so forth.
And was Mr. Bucks with you the whole time?
Yes.
So, you guys eventually leave Ypsilanti?
Yes.
And tell me about the driving arrangements coming or leaving Ypsilanti.
At this point, we only have one vehicle, which is mine. We get in, Jarvis in the front. I believe the guy sat behind me.
Step behind you?
Yes.
Okay. So, is there any kind of talking or conversation when you guys are driving?
No, I got sounds in my car, so no.
And do you recall about what time you guys, where do you guys go when you leave Ypsilanti?
Back to 9,000 Conner.
Okay. And do you recall about what time you guys get back to 9,000 Conner?
Probably around 8:45. I was cutting it close on the tether.
What do you do when you get back to 9,000 Conner?
Open up the shop door where he left. He left his truck in one of the bays, so we opened up that bay door. Went through the gas station because that's the way we entered the shop. Went through the gas station, opened the shop, opened one of the bay doors. I went to the back and started splitting the money that we had made for the day, and separating the receipts, etc.
Where do you see his niece go?
Getting this truck.
Do you recall where at his truck she got into?
Passengers.
Is that front passenger, back passenger, or something else?
Front passenger.
And where's Mr. Buck at?
In the back with me, separate the cash.
And when you leave, do you lock up the shop?
No, I left first.
You left first. Okay. So when you leave, who's still at the shop?
Jarvis and his niece.
Do you see them leave the shop at all?
No.
And have you seen Jarvis's niece, the one that was with you on the 9th? Have you seen her since January 9th, 2024?
No.
Now let's talk about the day after that you guys went to Tennessee, so January 10th. Do you recall if Mr. Bucks was at work that day?
I don't think he was.
What made you think that he wasn't?
I believe he called me like 3 times, 4 times. No reason for him to call me if he was standing right next to me.
No response.
Judge, I don't think he's speculating, so let's go to the police.
You asked the question, re-asked the question.
Yes. So you said that you don't believe he was at work because he would call you? He would call you so often?
He called me. We had a 30-minute conversation on one account, and then we had another conversation for about 15 minutes. So.
Okay. So that makes you believe in your mind that he was actually on the ceiling?
What's the question first?
That's based on those conversations. In his mind to him, that means that Mr. Bucks was not at the shop with him. I don't think that's cheating.
It's stating the conclusion. He said he already stated that he wasn't at the shop. So I'll overrule.
You can.
One more time, I'm sorry.
Sorry. So based on the length of those phone calls and the type of them, did that make you believe that Mr. Butts was not the shopkeeper?
Right.
Did Jarvis Butts ever mention to you about his niece being missing?
No.
Have you talked to Mr. Butts, aside from that jail ball that we played, since turning himself in?
No.
And do you know someone, you know any of Jarvis's siblings?
Yes.
And which sibling do you know?
I met his brother and I met his sister.
You talked to his sister. Well, scrap that. Do you remember would his sister ever come to the shop?
Sporadically.
Right. Okay. And are there times that you talk to her?
Yes.
Okay. And you talked to her about Jarvis's niece being missing?
After the police questioned me, I believe she came up there and we spoke about it, yes.
And Mr. Wright, I asked you earlier about if you'd seen Mr. Butts in the courtroom, so that you couldn't see him.
Yes.
Okay. Mayor, may I go?
Yes.
And I'm showing you People's Proposed Exhibit 9. Can you tell me if you recognize that photo?
Yes.
And who is it in that photo?
Jarvis.
Okay. That's Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
Okay. Now for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 9.
Exhibit 9.
Thank you. And Mr. Wright, I kind of want to direct your attention back to People's Proposed Exhibit 3. People's Exhibit 3, I'm sorry. Can you show me where I'm holding it?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know who this person in this photo is now?
Yes.
Okay. And who do you know her as now?
Nazaya.
And the next time that you see Jarvis Butts after January 9th, 2024, do you see any injuries on him?
No, I don't believe I've seen injuries.
Really for the judge.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, Sherry.
Good morning.
You said that, I believe, in your testimony that you have known Mr. Butts since about 2018, right?
That's correct.
Okay. You said you met at Frank's, the shop.
That's correct.
You said you guys worked together at Frank's for about 2 years,
That's correct.
and so that means in about 2020, you opened up the shop on Connor?
No, in 2021, I went to prison.
Okay.
So that's why we didn't work together for that period of time.
And
But
so you came back
I came back and we went back to the same thing.
at Frank's,
Yes.
and then what year was that?
That was 2023.
Okay, and so then how long after you came back were you the two of you Frank's together?
Maybe a few months to maybe like the middle of the year. So maybe around either June. It was before summer, so maybe around April. It was still a little cold outside.
Okay. So early spring
Yeah.
of 2023 is when you said that you think that you opened up the shop at
Yes,
9.
it could have been earlier than that, but yes, around about.
And so you became business partners?
Yes.
Did you get the business partners?
Yes.
Okay. also consider Mr. Butts a friend at that point.
Yes.
As far as the business arrangement, you said it was a 50-50 split. Did you split it every day at the end of the day? Or?
Every day at the end of the day.
Now back around the beginning of 2024, maybe the end of 2023, were you seeing a woman in Clinton Township?
A woman in Clinton Township?
Yes. A friend of a woman named Shannon Harris?
In 24?
Yes.
No.
Or ever?
Yes.
When were you seeing her?
This probably was 2000 and maybe 19 or 20.
So before you went?
Before I went to prison.
Okay. Did you and Mr. Butts ever have falling out about that?
No.
Now you.
So at that point, if he considered himself a friend of Jarvis, it was, you know, more of a friendship than it was a business partner, then he should know much more than what he putting off to know. I think he's just trying to play it safe and play it cool so he won't be found just as guilty as Jarvis at this point. But we shall see.
You, Mr. Butts, did you talk about your personal lives?
Sometimes, yes.
You just got good days at work together, right?
Right.
So presumably it came up.
Of course.
Talk about girlfriends.
Of course.
Did women often come to the shop looking for Mr. Butts?
Sporadically.
Did he talk to you about the various women that he would be seeing or juggling, maybe?
That happened.
Okay. It sometimes cause drama at the shop.
It happens.
When we don't maybe confront Mr. Butts,
It happens.
maybe about other women that he was seeing.
It happens.
Did you ever feel like that was affecting the business?
Not at Frank's.
What about at the business that you owned, Connor?
No, it didn't happen as much there.
Didn't happen as much in Connor?
Right.
Okay.
Now that's a damn lie, y'all. I'm sorry, I had to stop it again because he talking about he was having more visitors at the old location where they wasn't the boss, they wasn't business partners, but he didn't have that many people at the shop where he at. The girls clearly said they met him at the shop, whether that was at Frank's on Warren or Frank or they new location on Connors and Harper.
Now, sometime I guess while the two of you were working together, you had a friend that was, I guess, talking to or trying to date one of Mr. Butts' daughters. Is that correct?
That happened.
The daughter was 21, 22.
She was somewhere around there. I'm not 100% certain, but yeah, around that age, 20, 21, 22.
And that caused an issue for Mr. Butts.
It did.
He got pretty upset with his friend.
It did. I was in prison at the time, so, but yes, I was involved directly.
Okay. Did you ever hear about an altercation that happened between the two of them?
Some kind of altercation did occur, yes.
Was it your impression that Mr. Butts was pretty protective of her?
Yeah,
Based on that?
based on that.
Hey, Clean. Instead of focusing on
Do you know how many children Mr. Butts has?
13?
And you said that some of them would come to the shop.
Yes, that happened.
You're familiar with them?
Yeah.
And I didn't ask you to name everyone, not all of them, but
Now y'all, PP said he got 19 kids, but I'm gonna try to pull up the interview where his alleged son said he has over 30. That was from a man and a woman, but he just said 19. Everybody else think he got 13. This man got over 30 kids, y'all.
at the shop in Connor, you said his sons would come,
His son will come sometimes and stay today with us.
and his daughter.
She'll come sometimes and stay today with us.
And what's her name? Do you recall?
Now I want to misname it. I think it's someone with a J or something like that, though, but I'm not 100% sure.
Was she like a teenager?
He has a teenager. She come up there sometime, but not really. The littlest one, maybe 9, 7, 8, 9, somewhere around there.
Okay. And then his niece would also come?
Yes.
Would she come typically with his own children?
When I first met her, yes, that's how I met her with his daughter. She would always come with his daughter. They would come up there sometimes to get air in their tires. Maybe money, just typical kid stuff.
Did he ever, or did the two of you ever have them like doing chores around the shop?
Sometimes.
Did Mr. Butts talk to you about his children?
Yes.
Did he talk about spending time with them?
Yes, I believe he lived with the majority of them.
And you said that, you mentioned Tasha. She's one of the mothers of some of his children,
Yes.
correct? Is that who he was living with at the time?
No, I don't believe so.
Now, you said, I believe in your testimony, that you have been to Ypsilanti twice with Mr. Butts. Is that,
Or 3 times, one of that. Yes.
it possibly could have been 3.
It could have possibly been 3. I'm not 100% certain.
Now, one of the times that his niece was at the shop was, you said, on January 9th.
First time I seen her by herself, yes.
That's because you have a picture on Harper.
Yes.
Did Mr. Butts seem surprised that he saw her?
I'm not sure. I couldn't really, we was riding. I wasn't really paying attention to his expression. He just said, "Hey, there go my niece." I didn't see her, so he pointed her out to me.
And at that time, you only knew her as his niece, correct?
Yes.
You didn't have any idea what her name was at that time?
No.
And in fact, the reason you learned her name was when you identified that picture that was just shown to you and the police told you what her name was. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
Now, in the time that you were at the shop on the 9th with Mr. Butts and his niece, did you see any inappropriate behavior or anything that made you raise your eyebrows between the two of them?
No.
What about any of the other times that his niece would have been there at the shop? Did you ever see any behavior?
See, this is why I think they kind of bullshitting a little bit, because I feel like the way she asking him questions is to make sure that he don't slip up and say her name. Because he didn't even say her name until she insinuated, like, okay, that's when you learned of Nazia's name. And it's like, how you didn't know her name up until the day she came up missing, when she was at that shop all the time, cleaning up and everything. You mean to tell me you never knew her name?
Behavior that made you question or thought was inappropriate?
I can't say I have.
Now, the 3 of you rode back from Ypsilanti on January 9th. That was your testimony, right?
Yes.
Was there any conversation between Mr. Butts and his niece in the car?
There was no conversation between really nobody. I had the music on.
And I'm going to back up to earlier in the day when the 3 of you came to the shop the first time after you picked her up on Harper.
Okay.
You said that she pretty much stayed in Mr. Butts' car the whole time.
Yes.
She said she was on her phone.
Yes.
Did you ever leave the shop at all after that before you guys went to Ypsilanti?
I had the music on.
And I'm going to back up to earlier in the day when the 3 of you came to the shop the first time after you picked her up on Harper.
Okay.
You said that she pretty much stayed in Mr. Butts' car the whole time.
Yes.
She said she was on her phone.
Yes.
Did you ever leave the shop at all after that before you guys went to Ypsilanti?
So apparently she did have a phone that night. So I guess the question is, did Jarvis get rid of her phone if she had a phone?
Maybe in the gas station.
So not just the attached gas station.
Yeah, maybe to the gas station. I'm not sure if I actually physically left the building. I'm not sure.
Would it have been for more than like 5 or 10 minutes?
If I ever left, no, maybe to use the bathroom, so maybe 10 minutes tops if I had to leave.
You never have to grab parts at any place that you can recall.
Not that I can recall.
Now, after January 9th, what was the next time you said that you saw Mr. Butts?
The 11th.
The 11th. Okay. He was not at work on the 10th?
No.
Okay. Were you there on time on the 10th? Do you recall?
I'm never on time.
What time did you come in on the 10th?
Probably about 8:40. I go to the gym, so we open at 8, but I'm never there at 8, so I probably got there maybe 8:49.
And on the 10th, were you the one that opened the shop?
Yes.
Now, you were aware at that time that Mr. Butts was supposed to turn himself in and serve a jail sentence of William County Jail. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
You talked about that, obviously, because he was going to have to leave the business for a while.
Correct.
Okay. And you actually went to the courthouse on the day he turned himself in to support him, right?
Yes, I was there.
And he was serving time on a gun possession charge, is that right?
That's correct.
If you know.
That's correct.
Okay. And because you were kind of paying attention to what was happening, you understood that the court date had gotten changed a few times.
Yeah, he told me that it had changed. So I believe he's supposed to get sentenced on the 9th, but it got pushed back to February the 7th. So I learned that through him. I didn't go to court with him that time. It was just when he got sentenced, I went to court with him that time.
Are you familiar with any court dates that he had out in township around that time?
He did say he had something going on with his daughter, I believe. I believe it was domestic with his daughter of some sort. So yeah, I was familiar with that, I believe.
Was he going to court for that at that same time?
Around about, I believe it was supposed to be, yes.
Now you got involved because at some point you became aware that the Detroit police wanted to talk to you back in February.
They came to the shop and picked me up
They actually took you down.
to headquarters.
Okay, and that was the first time on February 13th, is that right?
That was February 13th.
Then you said you spoke with them again a couple days later.
Yes, I would believe the first time I spoke with him, I was still on tether, so it had to be some time after I was on tether, yes.
And then you spoke with them again in March, right?
Yes.
Was that a phone conversation?
No, all of our conversations was via person.
Okay. And then a couple weeks ago, did you also speak with the police
Yes.
and the prosecutors?
I don't know if a prosecutor, but yes, I believe she was.
As far as you remember?
Yes.
Now, in February, when you were talking to the police, by that time, had you seen anything on the news or on social media about who you later learned was Mr. Butt's niece?
No.
So at the time you were interviewed by the police, you didn't know anything about?
No.
Okay. And at the time that you were talking to the police, while you were on tether in February, you were on tether because you were on parole, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And correct me if I'm wrong, we had about 3 weeks left on parole at that point.
Not 3 weeks in February.
Yes.
I had 3 weeks left on tether. I got off actual parole in May.
Okay. So the tether was coming off, but you were still going to have to work.
3 more months after the tether came off.
And in February, I believe it was the second conversation that you had with the detective, presumably. You and the officer or the detective spoke about the tether, right? Do you recall that?
I believe so, yes.
Because you were concerned every time you would go somewhere, you would be late, you were very.
Oh, yeah,
being
yes.
home on time.
Right.
And in fact, he actually said, hey, we'll take care of you if anything pops up, right?
He said, I'll talk to your PO, so you're fine.
Okay. And he also kind of warned you that you didn't want to get somebody upset about the way you were answering these questions and have somebody feel some kind of way about you. Do you recall him saying that to you?
He may have said something to that extent. I'm not sure, though. This is the first conversation or the second you asked me
The
about?
second, right at the top of the conversation.
I can't really recall every word. I know they were a little agitated. I was a little agitated. There was a lot going on, so maybe
It's possible that conversation.
it's possible.
Did you understand any of his statements while you're talking to him to mean that police wanted you to give answers, and if you didn't give answers, then they could mess with your parole or your tether status?
False speculation,
It goes to his state of mind.
but he doesn't know what happened.
It's about what he believes might happen and the impact of what he said.
Speculation is referred as far as what they actually asked.
Was it your understanding that if you didn't give certain answers, that the police might impact your parole or your tether status? Was that a concern of yours?
I mean, it was already affecting my tether, so I wasn't really, concerned about how he placed his questions upon me, no. So, more of the concern was mine being picked up by the police. Police contact is a violation of parole within itself, so I was violated for the police contact, regardless to whatever he was saying. Get what I mean? So, no, I don't believe it impacted anything at all, actually.
But your parole wasn't actually revoked because they took you to the station and interviewed you, right?
No.
Now, we talked a little bit about this a few minutes ago. Mr. Butts was struggling with a few different women during the time you knew him.
Yes.
And it's hard to keep up with all the baby mamas
I mean, it wasn't my job, so yeah.
and babies that weren't his baby mamas.
Right.
Did you get the impression from Mr. Butts that he didn't want these women to know about each other?
Of course.
A woman named Tasha was one of Mr. Butts' ladies,
Yes.
and that was one of his baby mamas.
Yes. To my belief, yes.
So there was some discussion about a phone call between you and Mr. Butts while he was at the jail about his phone, right?
Yes.
And after that phone conversation, Tasha actually came into the shop to get some work done on the car.
Yes, he came to get a oil change in the headlight.
And that's when you went and kind of looked at the phone.
Yes.
Now, you didn't really want Tasha to know that you were looking at the phone, right?
Of course.
And the reason for that was,
She's gonna wonder why I'm looking for a phone.
and was it your impression that Mr. Butts was afraid it would reveal that he was talking to other women?
Of course.
And so you're trying to help him keep the peace?
Of course.
Yes. I think the testimony was on the 9th, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there was, an issue during the day, Mr. Butts had his escalator there, is that correct?
Yes.
And he had run out of gas,
Yes.
and he had to get gas, is that correct?
That's correct.
At some point you pushed him to the, or helped push the escalator to a gas pump.
Yes.
Do you recall leaving with him that night and going and getting gas together?
For his truck, or what we saying?
Um,
Or for like a gas can? What do you?
Well, either one. Did you all leave the shop, and perhaps you in your vehicle and he in his vehicle and end up at a gas station
No.
on the 9th?
No.
You don't really recollection of that?
I don't remember that. No.
Okay. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Can you redirect?
So what y'all thinking about the so-called business partner testimony? Y'all think he just was over this shit? He just ain't want to be there? Or if you think he hiding something? What y'all think? Because I know my thoughts. I know what my thoughts is. Y'all still with me? Now it's a few things. Oh, let me go to the the next video. Hold on, y'all. We're gonna get into some of these text messages from the detective. So this is a trigger warning. That's what they got this video named. Okay, just for your information. We're gonna keep it rolling. This one ain't too long. Seems like this is the condensed version. So here we go. Make sure y'all liking and subscribing, hitting the share button. Okay. This is the detective who was over the case. One of the detectives, because it was several. Okay. Drop some purple hearts in the comments if you still here. Justice for Naziah. This is why we doing what we doing. To bring awareness to this type of trauma in the family dynamic. Okay. Type of foolery.
The subscriber information as it relates to People's Exhibit 16, which is for that 231-743-3137 text now number. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. And I'd asked you about the phone ownership dates. What is the actual registration date as it relates to that phone number for Naziah Harris?
If I could look at the report to refresh.
Yeah.
The registration date for the 231 number is March 4th, 2023.
Okay, and that's as it relates to Naziah Harris getting that number.
Yes.
Now, I want to just back up a little bit before getting back to the messages. You had stated yesterday that when you searched Mr. Butt's home, you had found some guns.
Yes.
Did you, in any other searches, did you find any other kind of weapons?
Yes.
And what were the, well, first, where were they found and what were they?
When we had searched Nev, there was a firearm inside the vehicle, the same vehicle that had Mr. Butt's phone. That firearm was later determined to be registered to Tashiana. When we searched Mr. Butt's car, there were several like kitchen knives in there throughout the car, various sizes. There was the weapons that were inside his home. And I believe that was as far as any weapons. There might have been some other type of blunt instrument or something, but nothing significant that I documented.
Okay. And Mr. Butt's vehicle that Escalade was processed?
Yeah.
And those items were sent to the lab?
Yes,
And it's along with Miss Latricia Johnson's Nissan.
yes.
Now, I want to talk in your training and experience, having been with police for 24 years. Have you seen types of wounds made through clothing?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you saw the black hoodie that was recovered had some holes in the head, in the hood area.
Yes.
Okay. Now, are you familiar with what, like either a some sort of like sharp object or a gun or something of the sort? Are you familiar with what that would look like through clothing?
And at this point, I'm going to object. I think the answer would call for her to speculate on what caused these wounds.
I'm not asking her to say what caused the holes.
Call the holes. My
In this
apologies.
specific
Yeah,
case, but in her
correct.
experience.
Yes.
Okay,
That's
you may be objecting after a few questions, but for this all rule.
Yeah, so throughout the hundreds of scenes that I've been to, various scenes, whether they may be fatal stabbing, it may be a blunt force trauma, I've responded and processed many gunshot scenes. When there's clothing where a weapon was used, you do see that type of tearing. It could be from a bullet hole, it could be from a knife, it could also be from a struggle or pulling.
Okay. And just to be clear, you don't know how those holes got in the hood of that black hoodie.
Correct.
Okay. But those holes could be, in your experience, consistent with things that you have observed in your training and experience as it relates to struggles, stabs, bullets, things of that sort.
Correct.
Millions of gun owners represent the best of America. Meet the face.
Now, on Mr. Buck's phone, after that January 9th text to Naziah saying, okay, was there any other texts to Naziah's number after that date?
From Mr. Buck's phone?
Yes.
No.
Okay. There was no attempts to reach Naziah's number on Mr. Buck's phone?
There was no contact between Mr. Buck's phone and the text now number after that.
Okay. And in your role in this case, did you go through Naziah's kind of social media records and things like that?
Yes.
Okay. And since January 9th, 2024, have you been able to find anything as it relates, anything from Naziah Harris on social media?
No.
Now, we got to hear some of these text messages in the interview, but going through them, that's it. We're going to start now. Start with 15. Starting with people's exhibit 15. These are the messages from 313-379-5882. Can you have a copy of
I don't have a copy of that number.
Can you read the messages that were sent from that number to Jarvis Buck's number, or I guess the messages that were captured within People's Exhibit 15? So, including the dates and approximate times.
So the first message is September 24th, 2022 at 22:15 hours UTC. She says, bald head Janiyah, come here.
And that's to a number that's not Mr. Buck's.
Correct. Then the next message is on September 27th, 2022. All of these dates are from 2022. So September 27th at 1:37 a.m. UTC. It is sent to Mr. Butt's phone. We fitness sing happy birthday. Immediately after that, at the 17-second mark, again to Mr. Butt's phone, it says, come on. On that date, September 27th at 1:52 a.m., another message is sent to Butt's phone asking, you okay? September 27, 2022, 1:54 a.m., she sent a message, "Where are we doing it at your choice?" Immediately following that text, a message is received to Naziah, to this text now number, from Mr. Butt's phone that says, "You tell me." 9:27, 1:55 a.m. A message is replied to Jarvis, says basement. 1:56 a.m. A message is sent to Naziah from Mr. Butt's phone that says, "You sure?" At 1:56 a.m., a message is sent to Naziah, from Naziah to Mr. Butt, saying, "or job." At 1:57 a.m., a message is sent to Naziah from Mr. Butt's phone, saying, "Can you suck my dick, please?" The message immediately following that, from Mr. Butt's phone to Naziah, and make sure you erase the messages. Still September 27th, 1:59 UTC, a message is sent to Mr. Butt that says, "Okay, that is what I planned to do." Another message is immediately following that at 2:01 to Mr. Butt. "You turn me on just looking at you," and then there's a bunch of letters, which possibly is maybe an image that was sent that doesn't capture on the messages. 2:02 a.m., Naziah sends another message to Jarvis, "What time to be in the basement?" 2:03 a.m., he replies and sends her a message that says, "Go change your clothes and take your panties off." Naziah replies to Mr. Butt and says the letter K. At 2:10 a.m., so 7 minutes later, a message is sent from Naziah to Jarvis's phone. "I hear you. What are you looking at?" Jarvis replies back immediately to her saying the letter U. At 2:13 a.m. UTC, still on September 27th, Naziah sends Jarvis a message that says, "I know, I'm finna sleep good." There's another message directly after that that has a bunch of symbols, so I'm not sure if it was a one of those little emojis. 2:14 a.m., she sends to him, "What about you?" The next message she sends to him immediately after, "Sometimes I be wanting to live with you." 2:16 a.m., she sends to him, "You know what I mean." 2:18 a.m., she sends, "What time I'm ready." 2:23 a.m., she sends to Mr. Butt's phone number, "We not doing it or what?" 2:23 a.m., Naziah sends to Mr. Butt, "I really want you." This is still on the same day, September 27th, 2022. This is now 2:23 a.m. UTC time. Mr. Butts replies to Naziah, "Yes." 2:24 a.m., Naziah sends, "Pull your car down the street and come back. I'll be waiting." 2:25 a.m., Jarvis's phone replies back to her, "Come ride with me and Nye, N-I-Y." 2:25 a.m., she replies, they say, replies back to her, "Come ride with me and Nye, N-I-Y."
He said, "Come ride with me and Nye." Who is he talking about, Nye? Y'all know what NYE mean? Do that mean something different, or that's a person? And how this girl able to sneak outside at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning? Where was all 25 of them people in that house? Was she not? She had to been sharing bedrooms with people. Nobody noticed that she was sneaking in and out of the house. This is what I'm saying. Like, every time I hear these over again, I just feel like I hear something else that just sound crazy as hell.
2:25 a.m., she replies, they say I can come." At 2:30 UTC.
And she just said, "They say I can come." Let me rewind that. Just
2:25 a.m., she replies, they say I can come."
Somebody told her she could
At
go.
2:30 UTC, she sends him a message that says, I'm sorry, but love you. 2:30.
Oh, maybe she meant can't.
UTC, he immediately replies back, come on. 2:31, Desire replies, I can't, I'm going to get in trouble.
Okay.
The next message is at 2:35. She sends, when you come back, drop Nye off, pull your car down the street, and I'll come in the base. I'll be waiting. Then immediately after that, she sends, basement, please. Jarvis replies, okay. At 2:40, Jarvis replies, you in the basement yet? Immediately after that, Desire replies back, yeah. Now we are the next day being, it's now September 28th, 2:28 a.m. UTC. She sends Jarvis a message that says, are we doing it tonight? I'm ready, fresh out the shower. The next message is a reply from him to her. Well, this is September 30th now at 1:25 a.m. UTC. He replies, yo. September 30th, 2:59, she replies, you coming over? She then sends another message directly after that, don't have school. At 3:07, a reply is received to Naziah from Jarvis saying, yep. She then replies, hey, we'll be waiting. At 3:17 a.m., he sends another message, she sends a message to Jarvis that says, text me when you get here. At 3:21 a.m., this is still September 30th date, Jarvis replies and sends a message to her saying, outside. Now we have skipped to September 30th, but it is now on here at 23:13 hours UTC. She sends a message to Jarvis saying, hey, boo, you coming over? The next message is now October 1st, 2022, 1:51 UTC. She sends a message to Jarvis asking, you coming?
I gotta find a rest of that.
WGU, you can earn your nursing degree on your schedule. Our pre-licensure.
I gotta find the rest of that because that's crazy. So that was the detective. It's much, much more text messages. I know it was probably like 2-3 hours worth. Just her testimony alone. But somebody just said down in the comments they don't think they initially took her disappearance seriously. And of course they didn't, because they initially reported her as a runaway. Shannon, the auntie, she had sent messages to the cousin Roxy Rocks, basically saying that Naziah friends told her she was going to get some D, and Shannon had said that Naziah is sneaky as shit. So I really think that they didn't take it serious. They still don't take it serious, and they ain't take it serious before she disappeared. So, because this is insane. Let me see. This is the father of Naziah Harris. Let me see here. Because everybody was wondering, like, where's her daddy? Like, I think I said this in the previous live. Her father gave her up. He gave up his rights as a parent to the grandmother. That's why the grandmother has custody of her now. And her older brother, who was 18. I don't think they share the same father, but the mother and the father gave their rights over to the grandmother. So that will...
to get the goddamn backlash of it all.
Okay, wait, because we got a lot to unwind here.
And so like I was, and I got a really, really bad heart. Operates at 5%. So I was in a hospital when the police contacted me. And so it took me by surprise. So they asked if they could give the grandmother the number. I'm like, yeah, because, we had lost contact. So they gave her the number. So I continued talking to the police. Everything, like she said, everything that this woman has said, it's been like in a common way. Like, she's a straight A student. She sent me pictures of, like young pictures, like to where in my mind, I'm like, okay, my baby's still okay, So with Naziah and Naziah mom, just briefly, okay, we had made an agreement when she was born that the grandmother would take care of her. Now, the grandmother needed full rights to be able to provide full care, So we both signed over our rights to the grandmother. I put myself on child support. Now, once you did that, I put myself on child support. I was still going with their birthdays, taking clothes, everything. When I had this procedure done to my heart, I didn't have a phone for a while because I was in the hospital. They put a defibrillator pacemaker in. I had to go to rehab to work, so I lost contact. When I got out of there, they had moved, so I couldn't get in contact with them. Now, forward 3 or 4, maybe 5 years later to now, however much time that was, now my daughter's missing, and that's when the police came out.
Okay,
So
now,
that's briefly.
okay. Now, I want to say, without, I don't mean no disrespect by it, but like, without getting into too much your business, your personal business, I guess as deep as you want to go, why was it that you felt like you needed to give your rights up to her as opposed to raising her yourself if you knew that the mother was in whatever condition that she was in where she couldn't take care of her? Why didn't you take her?
All right, so I made a decision, for one, without my wife knowing. See, I'm married, so I made a decision without my wife knowing, and her name is Chantel. Tail knew my position where I was in because we had worked together, and we had told the grandmother, the situation. So, and I know people are gonna go ham or whatever, but I tried to be as responsible as my mind at that time could take. And, I didn't run. I ain't, everybody want to say something. Go get them other guys that ain't taking care of this and ain't taking care of that. I took care of it. So, it was only because at that time, in my mind, I was trying to protect my wife's feelings without her even knowing.
So when you say you made a decision without your wife knowing, the decision was to give up custody of your daughter, or what was the decision?
To sign the rights over so the grandmother can do full, so she'll be able to provide anything that she needed as far as funding, state, whatever she might need.
So you made that decision without your wife. So do you feel like had you told your wife the situation, she would have what? Maybe convinced you to take her or convinced you to do what you
know
did?
What? Now, when all this happened just now, I even apologized to my wife because I took away my wife's ability to, have her own feelings for the situation, and I knew that, and I had to have that conversation again with my wife. Now, had I not done what I done, I know for sure this situation wouldn't have happened, and it's tearing me apart because she would have had the 2 homes to go to and come to, and a lot of stuff. But my background growing up, it wasn't. I mean, I think it's still. You got to understand, everybody don't make right decisions. Everybody just hear the story. Oh, he should have done this. I'm pretty sure you should have done some things too. Now, I'm just being upfront and truthful about what happened at that time. That's all.
I'm just so tired of the excuses, not just from him. Naziah's father represents fathers across the board all over the world. The family represents a lot of toxic families all over the world. So when I say I'm just so tired of the excuses, all I hear is excuses coming out his mouth. That's it. He sound like one of them type of fathers that if Naziah was to grow up and become a multi-millionaire, that he will try to be in the spotlight with her and, you know, getting credit and all of that. You gave up your rights as a father. That was the worst thing he could have did. It was like he ran from his problem that he created. You created that mess. You chose to step out on your wife and then you just tried to cover it up. Oh, I'm gonna put myself on child support and then I'm gonna go give my rights over to the grandma. Y'all deal with my problem. Same shit, different family.
All I'm doing.
Right.
You know, and I want to, if somebody want to ask fine, but I still don't want to get, I don't want to get away from me putting the information out here that I do know.
Okay, right.
You know, for the main reason we're here.
Yeah, most definitely.
But
I mean, that was.
I do think people deserve a background. Like, where's this guy been? Or what's
Yeah,
you know?
and that's what
that's
what I wanted to ask you. Like, who are you? You know what I mean? Because a lot of people it seem to be forming an opinion. You know, not knowing whatever the situation may be. So I was just trying to give you a platform to speak your piece and say what you had to say as far as how you felt about the situation, and as well as about what you know, as far as going on, as far as I guess the you know, I guess the conditions of the family that she was living in, and you know all of that. So I mean, what beyond what I just asked you, would you like people to know about the situation, whether it be like I said about the family or you or what? What do you want the people to know?
I mean, I would take any questions if somebody want to ask. But as far as if we are moving forward to the grandmother of Naziah, I'm gonna move right forward.
Okay,
so,
now before we do that though, I do see one question I want to address. Now somebody asked, so did you cheat on your wife? Okay, and conceive Naziah?
Yeah, obviously, yep. That is what it would be. Yeah, that is what it would be.
So you
that
did
was
that to basically
what
protect her
happened.
from knowing about her and gave her up to the grandmother. So at what point did she find out about your daughter?
So, for one, when you put yourself on child support, they come out. I didn't know that. So they came out, and you know, I came home from work one day, and I had to have a total conversation with my wife.
So if he put himself on child support, why he just didn't take accountability and responsibility and made sure that he stayed in Naziah's life and that he fathered his daughter? It's still contradicting and it still sounds very idiotic to me.
And what had happened had been done already. And that's how my wife found out, and I had to deal with it, and I had to deal with it.
So now, you know, one thing that was in the back of my mind, you know, as I was learning the history from some of the family of Lady, I guess that's her name, that's what y'all call her or whatnot. And her history.
I call it Chantel.
Okay, Chantel.
I call it Taylor Chantel. Yeah.
Chantel. Like I didn't know. I couldn't remember her first name. Like what was she like when you were with her? If you could give us a window into that.
We worked together. You know, we redid homes, and you know, she was really good at painting, drywall, and things like that. So I don't know if I was arguing at home or, you know, and I used to drink heavily, smoke weed and drink all day back then, and was probably led to some of my conditions. So intoxicated, she was like a real cool person, like to work with, you know, and I guess, you know, under influence, one thing led to another, and the situation had happened. But Chantel was dibbling dabbling with drugs back then. I believe it was like coke. I think it was cocaine. You know, she didn't do no pipes. I think it was just cocaine. But
did you ever use it with her?
Move back.
You ever used it with her?
Oh no, I don't. No, okay. No. I ain't even that type of cat. So, and you know, Chantel was, you know, bisexual. So, you know, it was kind of almost like a party lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what it was. Now, you know, as far as when I talked to the grandmother, this situation has gotten a lot worse. You know, now, Chantel, Chantel had a son before Naziah. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, I think, and you know what? All from the podcast, I don't know if I heard right, but Chantel might even be adopted to her mother. I don't even know. You know, now these are things that I did not know. I just did not know. So, and then on the other two kids, they like they said, they all ran away when they were younger. So this is what I'm saying. All this stuff, I didn't even know. It was no communication or.
Now y'all just heard what he just said. All of her kids, he talking about the grandma kids used to run away when they was growing up. Now, one of the siblings claimed that they ain't never run away. They ain't never had no dealings with CPS, none of that. But he's saying that they used to run away, and they other family members, their cousins, saying that they used to run away and had problems in the household. It was very toxic, very dysfunctional. So everybody can't be saying the same thing and it not be true. It's just the Harrises don't want to take accountability. But okay.
Relationship like that. People make mistakes. People do things and they make mistakes, and you go on with your life. And at that time, you do damage, and you have to learn and you grow, and you just have to keep going through life. And that's basically, and that's what it was. That's what it is.
Okay, one more thing that's on my mind to ask you before you get into your comments about the grandmother and whatnot. Like, so since you cheated on your wife and had Nevaeh, and you kept that secret from her to protect her, once you find out, she didn't say bring the baby home. Like, what was that? That was never a conversation as far as after she found out.
Yep, it was always a conversation. It was always a conversation. That was one of the main reasons I was taking bikes, clothes, whatever that baby wanted over there. And that's
that's the reason why you was taking things over there, because y'all was having conversations about bringing her.
We were trying to get to still be in the baby's life.
Okay, be involved.
When you make a decision, you just can't just automatically change it. Like, no, right. Yeah. You just don't do that. So you show you could be there, and you show you could be responsible. And that's what I was doing. I was showing I could be responsible. I kept up my child support payments. To this day, they're still going. And so that's what it is. My wife is a very supportive person, and it's nothing that it was nothing on her. None of this is on my wife at all. She's a beautiful, supporting person, and that's what it is about her,
Dig it. Okay, so I guess with that being said, you can go forward with whatever the details is you want to share about the family or the grandmother, the situation, or, your whole view of this situation right now.
Okay, so it's like when I was in the hospital and she was queuing me in on everything, she was telling me like the baby never ran away. This has never happened before, and she was seen running with some kids. So, we're going to find her and we're going to bring her home. And, now my family's asking like, well, are they going to do a police conference? And I'm like, well, Mama said they were going to do a police conference. They're trying to schedule. It's going to be on this day. Now, mind you, this is like around the 9th or whatever. I believe it was the 9th when we was having these conversations. And I'm like, okay, so it was just kept on like, we were going to do this. We're going to do this. She even said Chantel came down from Ohio to help pass out flyers. And when she had gotten there, I said, we were talking. I said, well, how's Tail doing? She said she's not doing too good about it. And I said, oh, okay. And I left it at that, because, I know what type of state Telly be in. So I left it at that. But she was helping look for, as far as I know, they was passing out flyers looking. So as time goes, it's just a whole bunch of, like, I would call Mama, and I didn't want to bother her, but she was always be like, I'm tired, and yeah, maybe. And she's always like she seemed like the perfect grandmother. Well, I used to go over there. Everything the house was immaculate. She was always working, trying to do something. The baby was happy, cooking, things like that. It was never. And she's a God-fearing woman, so it was always like a good vibe. So I respected her with a good vibe. You know what I'm saying? So, if she told me something, I really believed it. I would have never thought it would be so much shady stuff coming from her direction, and then it's they got twins. She has twins, they used to live with her, and so now, I guess one of them don't, one of them do. I don't know. I just know that's the part of the family that I don't.
So basically, you saying
So
all of that to say that the picture was painted perfectly in your eyes, and it looked like nothing was going wrong, or nothing was ever wrong in the situation.
ever wrong.
And when
Right.
this particular situation came about, they're telling you that this is something that never happened, and they weren't worried about it as if they was expecting her to come back home anytime soon.
Right. No, correct. Now I want to say this. Now at this time they were dealing with DPS, that's the Detroit school system police, right? So she hadn't even explained that to me. So so eventually when I got out, I didn't want to keep talking to her, but I wanted more information. So I got out of the hospital. I wasn't even supposed to be walking. I'm on a medicine that keeps my heart pumping. I wasn't even supposed to be walking. I got nurses calling me because they was concerned because the police. And well, I'm out there, me and my wife passing out flyers, my sister, my son, my nephew, we out here passing out flyers. And I would stop over at my house and try to get, direction of where I should go, what's going on. And she would just come out. She said, oh yeah, we out passing them out earlier. And this and that. I'm like, okay, well, we're going to do this. We out there day and night. But every time we went, they were in the house. And then the twins, like, I know them. They never came out the house. So I feel like, what's going on over here? So one day I went over there, or I was having a conversation with the grandmother. She said, I don't know why everybody want to ask where, like Chantel got an older son. I think he's around 70, 18 now. They want to talk to him. I don't know why the police want to talk to him. He ain't got nothing to do with it. You see what I'm saying? It's just her attitudes started changing.
Okay, so now you're saying that, right? Basically, you're saying all of that to say that you notice red flags about certain situations, and you probe them and ask them about it, and they act suspiciously. I guess to say, for lack of a better way to
Correct.
explain it.
Right. Now, when we were trying, I said, Mama, and after a while, I'm like, Mama, we done put these flyers up. All the kids that we talking to, they're saying they know her, but they ain't seen her in 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm like, well, that's about when the thing happened. And ain't nobody seeing her, but Mama telling me they seeing her running up and down the street. I'm trying to keep calm. Now, after we go through, and I'm going to jump right back, DPS and the Detroit Police Department, they do have a certain procedure and protocol on how they do things. If it's a runaway, I think they treat the situation different than a missing person. I don't know. Now that all this came out, I think she was reported as a runaway. And I think that was set up like that. I really do. I really do think it was set up like a runaway for time purposes. And I'm simply saying that because I asked Grandma, I said, now look, Ma, I just want to ask a few more questions. Let me tell you this. Now, we was talking, and she had told me the summertime, oh yeah, she's straight A student. She even went to the summer school classes and everything. So they had said that I pulled up, well, a guy was at the school in a pickup truck, and Naziah had went out there to the pickup truck. And the principal had supposedly went out there and said, who are you talking to who was that? Naziah turned around and said, this is my dad. So the lady was like, yo, dad. So when she started walking towards her, they said the guy pulled off. So the Naziah came back in. So I said, well, Ma, I didn't know where y'all lived at. She was like, yeah, because we moved. I said, well, ain't nobody called me. She was like, well, we tried to call the number, didn't go through. I said, Mama, I was in the hospital so long, I don't even know where that phone was. I said, so, and if anything,
clearly that was Jarvis up at that school.
What happened, I would call you. She was like, I know you're very respectful. So I'm not thinking of the conversation. So we still talking. I said, well, what did she say? She said she asked her, was that? She said, she looked at her and said, that's my daddy, Anna. And she was like, that is not your dad. And so I think she said she started crying or whatever. And she said, we'll deal with this later. So I'm like, okay. So now going back real quick. Now, mind I told you when we got out, we was passing out flyers. I would go over and ask her, what area should I go in? She was like, well, go down there to Chadsworth, on Chadsworth. So I guess the back of the school sits on Chadsworth. I said, well, why would I go down there on Chadsworth? She was like, because that's when Naziah walked through the field and met with that guy at the truck. I said, so she walked through the back of the school, Ma, and walked through the field? I'm trying to figure out. She was like,
you say all of that to say that they
the
knew that she was possibly dealing with somebody out of her age range and was not doing nothing about it?
Now, I'm about to tell you some more stuff. I just wanted to give you that scenario. Now, Naziah is smart, okay? If that was the case, I believe she was covering up for somebody. He didn't want them to get exposed. Now, as I listen to your podcast,
that's over age,
that she knows. Yep, and she knows, and they not her age. Now I listen to your story, and it's like this guy who's one of the twins' boyfriends. You see what I'm saying? And this guy's supposed to have all this sexual misconduct junk and all this nasty stuff. Okay,
You
red
the
flag.
Jarvis dude?
Yeah, I believe that's him. I believe it's him because I don't know none of this. I don't, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to say it's this guy, but I believe it's him. I just heard about this yesterday. So now before all this, me and mom was having a conversation. I said, well, Mom, well, how did you manage? She said, well, I think Shan, one of the twins, her man would pick up the kids from school sometimes, take them up to his shop, and they would clean up and work up there, and she would go pick them up. So I'm thinking like, well, maybe this is the guy she was protecting. This before I even know this guy was a pedophile. So, I'm like, okay, Ma, we need to look into that. She was like, no, because he ain't with her no more, or whatever that she might have said, So I'm like, I'm thinking in my head, like, okay. But now I listen to your podcast and I'm putting two to two together. So your podcast, I listened to that last night, right?
Right.
That night I texted the grandmother. I said, oh my God, I can't believe you. I said, twin, like this shit really hurt. I said, y'all sick over there. I said, 7 kids, like 5 with them got 7. You know what I'm saying? But I asked Mama before I sent them text, who is Jarvis? This woman sat up there, act like she ain't know who he was, and then was like, that's Sam's boyfriend. I said, well, is that the one that got in custody? She was like, look, her voice got real uppity then. She was like,
man,
look,
that lady gonna act like she don't know who Jarvis is till she croak.
I'm not saying that the police say people gonna say things when you get out here, they're gonna and don't believe it until they come back and tell you what's what. But I've been asking you the truth about these situations, and you haven't been truthful not once. You know what I'm saying? Now she go back and tell the police, my daughter has been running away. But you tell me she has never done it before. I mean, it's so many things that's not added up.
I mean, and that's the thing that I'm hearing from a lot of people as far as, and I'm not here to throw nobody under the bus. I'm just discussing the things that I've heard and things that that I see. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people are saying that the story from the story from the person that it's coming from is switching up, like, left and right, up and down. You know what I mean? So I don't know. And so when I'm giving the information that I'm heard, it may, I mean, that I'm being told, it may sound like my shit is up, down, left, and right. You know what I mean? But
right, but I mean, coming from the grandmother, man, this should be on point. Period.
And I'm gonna say this. I actually obtained a contact number for the grandmother, and I called her not long ago, less than 2 hours ago, and I reached out to her, respectfully, and said, I'm Mark D from Selmar Radio. I'm a citizen journalist. I have an independent media outlet, and I've been kind of covering the story over the last couple of days, and I wanted to reach out to you to see if you want to have a conversation and share your piece on what's going on. I mean, I'm unbiased. I'm not the police. I'm not. I'm a citizen journalist. I'm not even the mainstream terrestrial news corporate outlet. You know what I mean? So I was just giving her a platform to, to speak. And to me personally, she sounded a little. I don't know if it was worried, disgruntled, or whatnot, but she declined my offer to speak and got off the phone real quick. You know what I mean? And
yeah, man. She ain't trying to deal with none of this, man. I'm telling you. That's why I didn't even want to ask her questions, because her demeanor was off. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to respect her. She has always been, when you say grandmother, I'm talking like a respectable person. I don't even know what all this stuff, all the adoptions and all this stuff. It didn't even seem like that was in that category. It's like she's been adopted.
From what I hear, the grandmother, and I don't know how true it is, right? But 2 other people was telling me they don't know how she ended up with not only your kids, but the other 7 kids under the age of 10 that's in the house right now, because she in fact lost her kids to CPS when they were younger. Her 5 kids, they all ran away or something like that. But that's just a story that I'm told. So
Right. Oh my God.
But yeah, man, like I said, man, I really just wanted to, like I said, hear, how you felt, you know what I'm saying? See, how you was doing, and give you a platform to speak, and ask you a couple of questions, because the main concern, from even me, was like, where's her dad at? Like, where's he at all of this time? Just wanted to, give you an opportunity to speak and tell everybody what it is that you was going through in regards to all of this.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it, man, because, when I do talk to police, you only get you listen, and you got to let them do their job. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the Detroit Police Department. I do appreciate DPS because when Detroit stepped in, bro, all this stuff started moving like clockwork. Oh,
You said
you
what
know
now?
what I'm saying? When Detroit Police got the case,
Oh.
everything started moving like clockwork. I want to get like Tamara, that police commissioner. She has been overly outstanding. Eric from the 300, my sister Kelly Stein, she has been networking, doing things, and I appreciate it. I mean, I'm talking about Eric called me for the 300, called me at night. We got to talking. He said, hold on. We talking to the deputy chief trying to get answers through. I didn't even know they worked that night like that, so, and I really do appreciate it. And I really do think if it wasn't misled, I think a lot of stuff could have been done a lot faster. I really do think the whole situation was misled, like she was a runaway, and to cover up some real sick stuff that was already going on over in the house.
Yeah, that's kind of up the lane that somebody else said. You know what I mean? As far as same thing that they said, man. So, but yeah, man, I'm gonna give you a break, sir. I'm not gonna keep you all night, man. I'm gonna let let the call-in line breathe a little bit. Everybody is discussing the comments, the conversation we just had, so you can go check that out while I prepare to open up the phone lines for the grandmother's cousin, who is very
Okay.
adamant about speaking about this situation. So, like I said,
Right.
man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts, man, and I don't appreciate you sharing your experiences because I don't appreciate you going through this, brother. But I'm glad that you
Oh
are
yeah.
sound minded enough to and hard enough to speak with us about all of this right now.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've done a lot of growing. I'm talking about some of the biggest mistakes in my life, man. And I got a wonderful wife who stuck with me. And and I'm hurt. I killed myself on this one. Sometimes you can really hurt yourself. And I don't want to say even grow and move on. You got to stay there for a minute. I have to stay here for a minute, and deal with this situation. This ain't no get your parents.
Look how he looking at the screen, y'all. That's exactly how I feel. Exactly how you looking.
Her and
Shut
have
your
an
ass
accident.
up.
This is my baby's life, And I shouldn't. I really do feel like I left her high and dry on this one. It don't matter if I lost contact or what. It should have been. I should have been. I was a man. I should have.
You feel like you failed her. You feel like you failed her.
I feel like I felt. I should have continued being the man and had the conversations I needed to have. Because it was men out here doing that. They were having conversations.
You absolutely did fail.
Having that, even the
You absolutely did. You funny as hell for that comment.
ones that didn't have jobs, some of them they had multiple relationships. They had relationships with different women and babies, and they did what they could.
So are you still with? Are you still with? Is it your wife currently that you with now? That you you're still with from back then?
Oh yes, yes, sir.
Okay,
yes,
so
sir.
as beautiful and as wonderful as a woman as you describe her to be, you don't think she would allowed you to take your daughter in?
Oh, now you know what I do, but it's not like that when you outlive in a certain type of life, man. It's just not like that. It ain't like I'm out here and I'm doing all these, man. Working on house games is treacherous. It's just treacherous. You begin to the nightlife catch you. You drinking. You trying to you're making money. You're paying bills. Everything moving fast, and it's just like almost like you might as well say the dope game, man. And you're moving
It's
fast.
so crazy. He's talking about
You're
it's
not
like the dope game. Boy, you working on houses ain't got shit to do with the dope game. What is you talking about? This is crazy, man. And it's like, I'm a mama. I don't get to make excuses on if I'm going to show up for my kids or not. If I don't show up, nobody's going to show up. He was able to put his problems off on Naziah's grandma, and now he regretted it to the day that he died. Maybe. He probably didn't even really regret it, for real, for real. It don't seem like he really regretful. I just feel like he was forced to make a statement, and if he didn't, people was going to look at him people was gonna be side-eyeing him either way it go. But it's like the more he talk, it's like just shut up at this point. Like none of this is making sense. Y'all fail her at the end of the day. It is what it is. Y'all literally failed her. You gave your rights over to somebody who did not give a fuck about her, and that's something that he had to take to his grave, literally.
Recognizing you're not recognizing a lot, man. You're just not. And you have to be a sound mind. But you know what? Just like now today, you have to tie yourself to somebody and to something. you know, and that's what I've done. I've been to a lot of.
Just like Shannon chose Jarvis over her children, her safety, the women in the family, her own niece. This man chose his wife over his daughter. Even when his wife found out about Naziah, he still chose to keep Naziah away. He still chose to, let somebody else take care of his responsibilities. It's literally no excuse for him, the mama, the grandma, the auntie, nobody. I get that Naziah's mother was on drugs, but at the end of the day, we have to be responsible and accountable for our own selves. You chose to have a child. You have to show up for their child as the best version of yourself possible. Okay? So.
A lot of ministries I've been to perfecting. Pastor Wine, he has been a blessing over there. I learned a lot from the ministers over there that sharpened my game. And I just kept moving around to where, now I'm tying myself to over here with Great Faith Ministries, and they have been there for me, and they've been a good anchor. I talk to the pastors over there all day, and I'm able to go to them with the problems and straighten things out, and as best as you can. You have to continue to live your life.
Yeah, you got to continue to live your life, but at the same time, bro, like your life, just like when you get into a relationship, right? You're not the same person that you were before the relationship. Once you get into the relationship, right, you got to make changes. You got to make sacrifices.
You have to make changes and sacrifice.
And those same that same,
right,
not those same, but the same thing has to happen. You know what I mean? On a whole other level when you have kids. You know what I'm saying? You got to make changes and sacrifices on a different level. You know what I mean? So it's
yeah, definitely. But what I'm saying is that people are always running their mouth. I'm out here in the open. Everybody that's saying stuff, and you put them out here in the open, there you will get bombarded too. Nobody's perfect.
Right.
You have to stay, just like the grandmother. She was a beautiful person. She has to stay under the word of God. Just like me, I need to stay under the word of God. When you make that lifestyle change, it's a lifestyle
here go this
change.
word of God, religious ass bullshit. Just take your L, sir. He already took his L. But see, I feel like that's Naziah's grandma problem too. Oh, we pray every day before I take the kids out. So, girl,
it ain't just for that
don't
moment.
mean you
And then
ain't
when
a
you begin
demon.
to walk and do those things, it's a lot of things you learn.
All
You
the
make
demons
mistakes,
link
you
up
move
in
on.
the church.
I
Y'all know
made my
how I
mistakes,
feel about the
and I'm
fucking
still gonna
Matrix
make mistakes.
agents. That's
And
all they was. They was a bunch of people preying on Naziah's downfall, jealous and envious of Naziah, didn't want to take care of her, didn't want to see her be successful. That was all this is. Because my thing is, it is either you love somebody, you take care of them, you uplift them, and you make sure they be successful, or you don't. If you're not helping them be successful in their life, and you're causing them detriments and downfalls, you are opposition. Period. She was surrounded by a bunch of ops.
I'm not
from
gonna
the
stop.
day she was born.
I'm not gonna stop. I did
like
not.
many of us.
I'm just not. I'm not gonna stop. And that's just what it is, man. It's just what it is. I have to keep going. I have to keep going. And I'm not saying going without this situation. I'm talking about as far as learning and growing. People are always gonna have a comeback to anything you say.
Most definitely.
But you just gotta keep on. You gotta keep on going, man. You can't stop.
I've had enough, sir.
Added to the screen yesterday where it says, "Can't sweep."
Oh no, sir.
Shut up.
No, sir. That was in January. I started posting about this molestation stuff in September.
So
that was going on over there.
Oh, Kenya.
All right.
Kenya
Hey,
is a cousin.
Yeah, definitely. But all right. Hey, thanks a lot, man.
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon, man.
Yes, sir.
Added to the screen yesterday where it says, "Can't sweep."
Oh no, sir. No, sir. That was in January. I started posting about this molestation stuff in September. That was
So she's
going
talking
on
about
over there.
September. Kenya was posting about the molestation things and things like that she knew about Jarvis. September, was it 2022? Yeah, it had to be 2022 because there's another post that she had January 2023. So that Shannon and her sister responded to.
And I was going back and forth with the twins about it. Like, y'all got a whole child molester over there. What's going on? So this is a shock to just know that She knew about it. They all knew about it, covering up. They even had the children lie to the police about a situation and change their story so the children's mother wouldn't have to raise the kids on their own. And she was more worried about not having help with the kids and him going to jail. And just recently, from what I understand, she's going back and forth with another female about him on Facebook, about who man he belonged to, who's the main chick for him.
Now, the crazy thing about that specific situation that you're talking about that involved the kids, I don't know if you care or if we even really need to get into the details of it, but that same exact situation was laid out to me by someone else whom is on what I want to say the other side of the, yeah, who's, I'm confused. I want to say the other side of the family, but maybe not. But from somebody who we weren't in the same room with, me and you and this person wasn't in the same room. So I'm hearing that same story from somebody else. And when you told it to me yesterday, right? When you were telling me the story, I kind of finished the story for you when I asked you, so how do I know this, right? Remember that part?
Right.
So it has to be some type of a truth to it, is what I'm saying.
Right. There's a whole lot of truth to it. You know, it's just sad to me that people will get more upset about exposing pedophiles than being upset about the children that are being damaged and their careers and their life is being changed forever because grown adults are more protective of adults that are hurting children.
Yep.
And in my mind, when you do that, when you know this is going on, you need to go to prison just like that pedophile need to go to prison. They need to throw her under jail and the two other ones under jail. All of them need to go.
I see a question in the comments that asks, why didn't you call the police in September?
Why didn't I call the police in September? It wasn't about me calling the police in September. It was about me establishing what was going on within that family because I don't go over there. So the information was fed to me, right? The information that was fed to me that I checked up on and confirmed. So that child, I asked her mother, well, what happened when you went to the police? And she said, well, the police did not press charges because the children was forced to change what they said had happened so he wouldn't go to jail. So I don't have no proof. I could just tell the story of what happened and how we got there.
Yeah, if the kids are not going to back it up. But now this is something else that you told me though. Now, you and this other person told me that I guess somebody asked the kids, did it really happen? And they said yes, and the reason why they lied or whatnot.
Yes, that they were being forced to change their story. So that individual wouldn't go to jail. So that mother would still have him around to help her with the 5 children that she's had by him. So they forced them babies to change the story so he wouldn't get in trouble.
So you say all of that to say that there's a track record of them knowing detrimental shit happening and them covering it up.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. When that little girl, my little cousin, confirmed what had happened with that grown man. Oh, so they over there covering stuff up, and then that's when I blew up and put it all on Facebook for everybody to know. They covering for sex offenders over there. So that's why I didn't go to the police, because if my cousin took her daughter to the police station and told them, and they said, well, man, we can't do nothing because these kids are saying it didn't happen. And you got to understand, my cousin is very stern. She is of my grandmother. She grew up with our parents. My grandmother had 9 kids, so she grew up within that realm. And
what she mean by stern?
So
what she mean by stern is she mean mean and evil, because I heard the way that grandma talked to her grandkids. I was gonna try to pull a video up, but I'll just come back with that video. But she was talking to them kids. She literally said on camera, which one of you stupid ass kids did something. It was something to that extent, but you can clearly tell what her family and her kids is calling stern. It's actually verbal abuse. It's actual abuse. So this is why I don't understand why her daughter got on this same radio station claiming that her mother is not dysfunctional. They didn't grow up dysfunction. I think a lot of times people get toxic behaviors confused with being normal. that's the issue right there with them. It's very dysfunctional to be verbally abusive to your children in a way where you're speaking to them in a way where they feel like you hate them. That's how she was talking to them. And I know that all too well because my mama did the same shit. My mama clearly, I felt like my mama hated me based off how she talked to me. So that's abuse. It ain't about being stern. You could be stern and not be abusive.
My cousin's tactics come from her.
Man, I just don't know what to say about this. This is just
It's a mess. It really is. This
so.
could have been prevented.
If you was to take a shot in the dark, right, and you was to, you know, have your theory on where she is right now, or what happened to her, what is your theory, and what does your heart tell you happened?
Ooh wee. I don't know if I really want to answer that right now because I want the best for Isaiah. I want her to be alive. I want her to be well. But they had time enough to do whatever they needed to do. If they did do something, they had time to figure out what to do. They had that time. So I don't want to put that on my little cousin that she's not here any longer. But it seems that way. And it seems that they had enough time to do whatever they needed to do. And now she's gone. You know what I mean? So for my family's sake, for my bloodline, you know, I love all my peoples, but this right here could have been prevented if everybody would have opened their eyes, because a lot of my family members are still sleeping. Their eyes are not open at all. This situation didn't have to happen. But now that it has happened, maybe this will have other families rethinking how they are handling pedophiles, child molestation. Maybe this is what needed to be, maybe this is what needed to happen to bring more awareness to our children being hurt by grown men and mothers and aunties hiding it and thinking it's okay, because it is not okay. It's not okay to keep passing this trauma down and down and down. It's not okay. It's not okay. This could have been prevented.
Yeah, that's
And that's this,
I mean, just like every other situation.
and that's what I'm saying too. Like, you know, I feel like what we're witnessing is a family be exposed, but they're breaking they're trying to break a generational curse, like she just said. I just feel like we're witnessing it in real time of the divide in a family dynamic, where you got some people wanting to stay asleep and stay toxic, stay dysfunctional, and then you got the other side of people wanting to break the generational curse, wanting to, you know, seek a higher awareness, consciousness. And that's where the conflict is coming in at, where the grandma, Naziah's grandma, and her people, her Harris family, don't want to take accountability, and they rather avoid their demons by any means necessary. And this is why I say this situation is a lot more deep than what we see with our physical eyes and what we're hearing. This is a very this was a generational curse that was going on, and I just feel like we just able to witness it in real time. Although a lot of us are dealing with this in our own family dynamics, me included, being a generational curse breaker and then being exiled or, you know, demonized to the family, or they just isolate you, period. Okay. So I think that's what we witnessing here too. And I just feel like they didn't want to see Naziah be great. They just didn't want to see it.
And we see like this on the news, you know what I mean? And just like I said, you know, yesterday to you, unfortunately, we all know that this is, I want to say, probably not going to be the last, but we know it's not going to be the last one. You know what I mean? And
people got to wake up.
And part of the whole point of me being so involved in this, because I see the importance of exposing the corruption or the neglect in the system in regard to CPS, or even the family system, the family structure. When we know there's so many things going on, and not in everybody's family, right? Now they know it doesn't happen in everybody's family, but we know in a lot of people's families, you know, there's that uncle or that cousin or whatever, whoever, sometimes that auntie, right? That that has inappropriate behavior around the kids.
Yeah.
Keep the kids from around when Uncle Johnny come over type shit. You know what I mean? So as opposed to sweeping this stuff under the rug, right? We need to be proactive as opposed to reactive and wait until tragedies happen and try to run around like chickens with our heads cut off, trying to figure out what happened and why it happened and what we can do to prevent it. When we all know and see the red flags in the beginning, and we give people and give situations the benefit of the doubt as opposed to the consequence of the doubt. You know what I mean? And we end up suffering the consequences like we are right now.
Yeah.
So that was the whole point of me. Like I said, just kind of involving my platform in this because I just seen a need. You know what I'm saying? Just like any other time where I see a void, I try to fill it. So this was just, I feel like it was a need. This conversation was needed. This situation, I don't know, it's heartbreaking. It's hard to even talk about. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, has to be talked about. It has to be discussed. So I mean, I don't know if it's what else more to say about it. You know what I mean? We need to find her. Whatever the case may be, you know what I'm saying? We need to get some resolve to this situation. And I hope, like you said, that she's somewhere safe and turn up because it's crazy out here. No teenage girl need to be out here with people that it's not her family and mean her no good. You know what I'm saying? So
well, only her own family. Her own family didn't even save her. So her own family didn't even save her. Her own immediate family didn't even save her. They let it happen. It's their fault, and they need to go down the drain just like anybody else. And we family.
And Shannon chose. Shannon literally chose. She said on her own mouth. I have to let y'all listen to that interview too, where Shannon was basically saying that she made the decision to pursue Jarvis after he told her when she was 19. She claimed she was 19. She probably was younger than that, but he told her about him going to prison for sexually assaulting that 4-year-old, which I believe was his daughter, and giving her STD, or it was a girl. No, it was a girl that lied about her age, quote unquote. Allegedly, she claimed that she was older than 13, but she was actually 13 at the time. And he went to prison for that. And he was supposed to be a registered sex offender. And she said she knew about it. He told her about it, and he gave her the option to pursue him or not. Now, tell me, what would be the reason that a woman would pursue a man who just told you that he sexually assaulted a young girl, but the girl lied about her age, or he was in a relationship, or whatever it was that took place, it led him in prison? What would be the reason that a woman would still choose to be with that man? Because she's desperate. That's the only answer. Only a desperate woman will pursue a man who openly expressed to you that he is a pedophile. That's it. That's all. And it cost her niece. It cost her other nieces and nephews, her own children. It cost that. The same thing with the other women too, not just Shannon, because clearly he had a whole plethora of women that he was dating. Over 10 he was actively dating at the time he turned himself in. So all of these women knew about each other. 3 of them said that on the stand. Shannon said that, the girl Latricia said that, and Tashiana, she said that. So they all knew that he was seeing other women. Even as Latasha, whatever her name is, she said the fiance, you claiming to be his fiance, but yet you know that he got other women. He don't stay a full night with you. He leave at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning. It's just pure desperation. Nothing more, nothing less. That you will willingly sacrifice your own family, your own children to get a man. That's because she didn't view herself as a prize. She didn't have no self-esteem about herself. She didn't have no self-worth. And she thought that he was something. And this is where it led her ass. So this is why women need to not be desperate when it comes to these men. You need to, like people say, you got to vet them. Go fishing, reel it on in a little bit, check it out. And sometimes they don't even have records. So we just need to be very mindful, very careful of who we allowing in our space, especially if you got children. A lot of times men will be with women who got children because she's desperate to have a father figure for her child. And because society tells the woman she's nothing unless she's married. I don't care what people think about me. If I'm single and I'm raising my children, I don't care what you think. I know that I'm protecting my children. And that's where having the ability to critically think and stand 10 toes down on what you believe and not trying to satisfy and people please society, your family, and everybody else. That's where that mind power, that strong will come in at. Because I went through the phases like, okay, I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna try to have a family again. Didn't work. He was abusive. He was this, he was that. You know, it was always something. So I realized actually I'm okay being by myself with my children, knowing that I'm raising them in a way where they will be conscious, they will have emotional intelligence. You know, we tend to dumb ourselves down a lot of times when it comes to being in relationships with people and not realizing that it's costing you're giving up your energy, okay, to a person that's not pouring back into you. And then your children are getting a distorted version of you as a mother because you chasing behind some man that don't even want you. He wants your children. He wants other people's children. That's crazy. And sometimes, obviously, it takes for tragic situations like this for a woman to get it in her mind, which I don't even think Shannon really got it in her mind because she's still putting money on his books and she's still making visits and she's still communicating with the man that has cost her niece her life. And she's still choosing to deal with this man. So as a whole, as women, we just got to do better. We really do. And realize that it wasn't even worth it. So now she was trying to save, don't save him. He don't want to be saved. She was trying to save this nigga, thinking, okay, if I get rid of my niece, then you will stick around and you'll be able to raise it. He's still not going to be able to raise your kids because either way it go, old boy was going to go to prison. When they found out who had impregnated Naziah, had they not made her disappear, he still would have been going to prison. Either way it go. So you was better off leaving your niece alone, but you hated her so bad. You had so much animosity towards your niece. You were so jealous and envious of your 13-year-old niece instead of looking at it like she was preyed on by your weird ass, pedophile ass nigga or man. You rather had a got rid of your niece or allowed your niece to be at the detriment of another person, however it went. You did nothing, Shannon, to stop it. Your grandma did nothing to stop it. You bitches went to sleep that night comfortably, knowing that Naziah was out 5 months pregnant, which we know that's facts. Show y'all on my TikTok. We know she was pregnant for sure because her cousin said she was indeed pregnant, and here's the video to show it, even though we all pretty much know because based off the text messages that Naziah was sending to Jarvis, whatever his name is, about a pregnancy test and, you know, this, that, and the third. So they absolutely knew. Stop all that goddamn lying. Trifling, just trifling. Hopefully it showed clear enough, but this was her. Now y'all pay close attention. Oh, hold on, wait a minute. In Naziah's stomach area. This was taken a day before she disappeared. Shout out to one of the cyber detectives. Hold on, y'all. Make the screen a little bigger. Take that off real quick. And go to it now. I don't know if y'all can see this, and I don't know how to make it a little bigger, but just try to pay attention to her stomach area.
Now y'all pay close attention to Nazia's stomach area. This was taken a day before she disappeared. Shout out to one of the cyber detectives that sent me this video.
Mom.
And this is what her cousin Roxy Rock said up there. She
See what it say right here? She say this is the day before her disappearance. What? No. Put it right here. I don't know if y'all can see it. Y'all have to let me know in the comments because I'm not sure, or whenever y'all catch this playback. But I'm telling you, if you can't see it that clearly, go to my TikTok because it's on my page. And
she said this is the day before her disappearance. So this was sometime last year when this video had surfaced. But again, a lot of us didn't really have the details to this case. So clearly them bitches knew that she was pregnant. They show proof right there. Her stomach was clearly round and she clearly was pregnant and moving like a pregnant woman even while she was dancing. So them saying that they didn't know she was pregnant. They didn't know she was sexually active. All of that shit is a lie. And the truth just gonna keep resurfacing and surfacing and surfacing. And I'm gonna keep staying on top of this case. I ain't letting up. Because the more we talk about it, that's when we're going to see some real changes happen. These adults in her life, these trifling bitches in her life need to be held accountable for the bullshit that they have done. They are the reason that Nazia is not here. Justice for Nazia Harris.
So here it go playing again. You can really see it when she turned to the side. Right there, where she kind of hopped to the side. I don't know why it ain't bigger than what it is. And you can see it when she walking up to the camera too. But that's really not a clear video, especially me trying to play it back for y'all. So y'all gonna have to just go look into that. But it was some more things. I'm gonna have to come back tomorrow because it's been almost 2.5 hours. And let me see if it's anything that, because I wrote it down how I wanted to I'm gonna have to get y'all that video. Oh, I wanted to address the fact that they were saying Jarvis was getting beat up in a county. According to this guy named Juke Pyru on Facebook, he is not getting beat up in the county. He had just the guy Juke just had got out of the county with Jarvis, and he said they had Jarvis in a hole. So he was not getting attacked at all. He said he was actually surprised at how he wasn't getting attacked. And he was going around saying that he did not take Nazia's life. He ain't had nothing to do with that. So hopefully whatever Jarvis was writing at the pre-trial on that notebook, hopefully them notes come into fruition and we find out who actually unalived her and kidnapped her and did whatever else that they did to her. Hopefully them notes he write on that paper can somehow get us to the bottom of who did what and when. And hopefully they get a hold to Shannon and all his other girlfriends' phone records and all of that. That we need text messages, we need locations, we need all of that at the trial. So hopefully they gathering all of their gatherings, because yeah. Okay. Let me see how much more is on need to go.
It is what it is. So to all the people out there that's praying for Nazia, I thank you for all y'all that's praying and hoping that she be safe. I thank you. And for those that don't understand what's really going on, I hope you wake up, because it can happen to your loved one. It can happen to your family member. And if it is happening to your family member, be that black sheep. Speak up, because I don't care about none of my family not liking me, because I speak up on things that need to be spoke up on. I'm not scared to say nothing. So if you continue to be scared and not speak up, things will happen, and they will continue. But somebody got to break that chain. Somebody got to stop it.
Yeah, just like I told the
That's all I
dad.
got to say.
Yeah, I'm about to say, just like I told the dad, I appreciate your time and your comments and sharing your thoughts and emotions on all this, because this is a wild one right here.
Yeah, and had he been a dad, and she's very, very smart. So had he been a dad, there's no telling who she could have been. Very smart, very sweet little girl. I always hugged her every time I saw her, getting A's and B's in school. I never saw any fastness in her. None.
That's just it. She just said it. They didn't want to see Naziah become who she was going to become. They wanted to do everything in their power to keep her suppressed, traumatized, and, doing things outside of her character. This is why I be speaking about the Matrix family dynamic and the way that they do shit. This is exactly why. They agents. They are agents for wicked forces. The fact that they refuse to heal makes them open portals. And this is not just their family. This is anybody's family, any individual. It makes you a portal to be possessed by outside forces, whether you want to believe it or not. And that's exactly what her family operate out of, this malevolent, wicked force that it has attached itself generation to generation after generation. And I feel like Naziah was targeted. I feel like this was a sacrifice. I feel like because if I really give my deep spiritual perspective on this thing, she was a sacrifice. I feel like every generation has to make a sacrifice to this entity that is over, this principality that's over Naziah's family, just like anybody else's family that's toxic, that refuse to heal. And then the ones, like she just said, the black sheeps, those the ones that, that they isolate from, they don't want nothing to do with. They call you crazy, they call you toxic because you're exposing these malevolent forces. You see the reverse psychology there? When you expose the truth and who people really are, they don't like you when you do that. And I feel like Naziah had that about herself. I feel like she was very confident. I feel like they tried to tear away at her confidence. And one of the cousins said that they used to talk about her hair texture. She was nappy head. She was this, she was that. She was fast. Shannon called her, she's sneaky. I just feel like they was creating an environment for that type of personality to flourish. Y'all put her in a type of environment where she was targeted by a predator that completely changed her psyche, had her doing things that were out of her character. That's what trauma do. And then it keep you in this mental loop. That's why she was so crazy over that man, that monster. That's why she did what she did, because she was groomed to do what she did. And she was groomed to know how to speak to him in a way that she spoke to him, how to treat him. She knew how to use her words to control what she felt like she could control. And she knew how far to take it too, because soon as she asked him to lay up with her, hug her, cuddle, he like, what you mean? We don't do that. This grown ass man telling them, what you mean? She couldn't find love nowhere. She couldn't find comfort in nobody nowhere. So much so that she settled for Jarvis' monstrous ass and just accepted what she could from him. Because I know for a fact ain't nobody around that motherfucker loved Naziah the way that she needed to be loved on.
But some things I've been hearing over the last year, I heard some things.
Now, real quick before you go, because I'm seeing a reiterating statement that's flowing through the comments. How do you feel about people who feel like you are a part of what failed her because you knew what was going on and you didn't do enough? You didn't call the police.
Well, I'm not a part of what failed her. I didn't fail her. All I did was put the story out there. I didn't even know that anything was happening between her and a grown man. I found that out just through hearing and watching. I didn't even know no parts of that because I didn't even think that she was involved in anything like that because of how sweet and how smart she is and she go to school. She just didn't even seem like she was that kind of little girl. But I mean, when you got pedophiles around you and doing this and doing that, you change in the blink of an eye. So I knew nothing about that. Had I known something about that, I would have reported it. But again, we got other cousins in the family that's called police, that's called CPS on the situation. Now, CPS and the police kind of failed her, not me. Because had I known, I would have made that call too. But I didn't know.
Well, yeah, man, I ain't gonna, like I said, I ain't gonna stress you out about it because it's enough. It's a stressful enough a situation by itself. You know what I mean? So, I don't know what else need to be said about it. It's need to be brought to resolve at the end of the day. We need to find this girl and bring her home. And I'm gonna keep my eye out for these search parties and participate. I'll be live streaming when I can and make sure I'm out there and contributing to the solution.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me cut it back on, man. Keep them coming, man.
It's only she looks like she's the face of it.
Yeah, y'all. So that's pretty much where I'm gonna leave this at. I even went as far as did my own timing with when Naziah got off the bus and how long it take her to walk home. They missed some very critical hours from the time Naziah got out of school to them reporting her the next morning. They literally had a window of 5 hours to contact Naziah, and they did nothing. The grandma said, I did nothing. We saw that in the last video, the last live when the grandma was on the stand doing her testimony. She said she did nothing. Those were very critical hours, and I think that's why most of us is pushing for the grandmother and the Auntie Shannon to be held accountable for their lack of concern, the dragging of the feet. That is neglect. That was abuse. And somebody needs to say something. They need to find out some truth here. And they need to be dealt with accordingly. Jarvis is not the only monster here. She was in a household with monster women, monster caregivers, monster people. Okay? And that's just my take on it. I'm going to try to come back tomorrow sometime. I'll be back tomorrow sometime and go live, and we're going to dive in some more into some more videos that I see that I feel like we need to see together and investigate ourselves. Okay. And I'm going to let y'all go. It's been 2.5 hours almost. And we didn't looked at a whole lot. So I'm going to catch y'all tomorrow. I hope that y'all have a good night. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, especially to the people who are going to catch this replay. Okay. Let's continue to be the truth tellers, the truth speakers, the whistleblowers, and the sirens in the Matrix family dynamic. That's the only way we're going to truly fight back against these malevolent forces that are in the families that are attacking the children and sacrificing the children and being used by these malevolent forces by way of the family dynamic. Is very toxic. Okay. And we got to know that it's a real thing. Darkness, wickedness, it's a real thing. So I talk about this quite often. And I feel like Naziah's purpose was bigger than she knew, because I can see the positivity even in this tragedy, because it's now putting people in a position to think, and it's giving people the space and opportunity to speak their truths, and really hone in on the family dynamic by way of the Matrix and how wicked our families are and have been since generations ago, because nobody wants to address the elephant in the room. Nobody wants to address these generational curses that's keeping the bloodline from evolving and becoming more conscious and aware. So this is a tragedy indeed, but I feel like everything happens for a reason, and there are no coincidences in this reality. Everything is calculated, okay? Everything is calculated. And with that being said, I'm going to let you guys go. Hope you have a good night, good morning, good evening, whenever you catch this live. Remember, we got to learn to hear with our eyes and see with our ears. Don't let that go over your head, detectives. All right. I'll catch y'all later.